Hey guys, Kevin Cho of our new channel, World Class Card Fighters, here to do my deck profile that I used to win in CharaExpo over at California about a week ago. We'll just get straight into it. This will be a deck profile followed by matchup analysis for the deck. So to start with things, we'll start with the grade zeros. So non-trigger units, I played a Vermilion Gatekeeper, just your average draw starter, but you kind of need the draws early rather than later, which is why you don't play any of the G-Break starters or the starters that activate when you stride. Just the early dig for grade 3 or G-Guardians, maybe the potential to stride. It is a combo deck, so yeah. And then for Enigmatic Assassin, this card calls itself from your soul. It's part of the No Life Death King Assassin loop. I'll explain the loop at the end of the video, or near the middle, and then you'll have a better understanding of the card and its purpose. 4V heal triggers. Now you don't play the countercharge heal just because you need the 10k on the defense, or on the offense potentially, or you just need the 20k Guardian. And overall you have about 7 countercharging cards, so you don't really need a countercharging heal. And then you were playing 4V trigger draws. Now we are playing 8 draws, and to be honest, there's just no point in playing a regular draw over this, because a regular draw would only have 5k shield that it would contribute to the deck, and it's just overall better to have a, perfect guard eating the spot rather than a 5k shield, right? Because you do need to run 8 draws to draw into your combo pieces, and the defense 10k helps you survive, overall just really strong shield. Now for Hysteric Shirleys, now this card just allows you to soul charge an additional card. This does matter because you don't really soul charge a abundance at once. You soul charge gradually over the course of the game, and it's not G-Break, so you can potentially get off No Life Death King on your first grade 3 ride, potentially. So yeah, extra draws, extra hand. And for Monochrome Cat, now an old staple for Dark Irregulars. If you don't know what it does, it returns itself to your deck. If you have 6 or more soul, you countercharge. If you have 10 or more, you draw a card. So it replaces itself, which really helps if you're looking for combo pieces or you're trying to get the cards into the soul. Being able to replace it, it's essentially like running 46 cards in the deck, which is really strong. And then on to grade 1s. We played 4 Werewolf Jaeger. On soul charge, you counterblast 1 and draw during your own turn. The added advantage allows you to dig for combo pieces, and yeah, it's just an overall strong card. The counterblast doesn't hurt too much because we have this and 1 more spicy countercharger later on. It's also a stride enabler if you have 2 or more darknesses and so. Now that isn't too likely. I think there's only 17 or 20 darknesses, but being able to on-enter soul charge, counterblast and draw for the extra defense against some of your grindier matchups like Blasters or Spike Brothers, it just really matters, and it's worth the risk of not being able to stride with just 1 card.
Like, I know Mike has like survey.
Next up, we played 4 Dimension Creeper. Now, a lot of people vary on this card because when you draw into it, it actually has realistically no effect. But on as your ride target, soul blasting and soul charging too, it's just a very fast soul charge engine, and it's just overall worth the risk of not riding it because you do have one other way to put it in the soul. And yeah, it's just about speed really. That's why we play this over some of the other cards, which I'll explain later. And then 3 Snake Charmer. Now to be honest, I think Snake Charmer is just the staple of this deck, because at the end of your turn, as long as you reach darkness, you can return all of the cards in your soul except for 13 back to the deck, which allows you to essentially reset for a second whole turn of NOK, but it really stops you from decking out, which matters in the mirror match. So yeah, it's just a really good card to draw by your NOK loop. You don't lose if you didn't draw it. It's just better if you have drawn it. For grade 2s, 4 Ruthaven. Now this card's just extremely staple. It's on play, soul charge a card from damage or drop zone, and then you put a card face down into your damage zone. If you took a card from damage, this essentially means that you can get any card that you've drawn the entire game, even cards from your damage zone. So you're seeing 100% of the cards that have been played in the game, which makes the consistency of your deck just outrageous. So this card is just really strong. 4 Tragic Claw. Now this grade 2 spot kind of varies overall. Some people don't like it because it only soul charges one at a time. Once when you play a card to the column, but it does soul charge non-G break, and it does activate multiple times per turn for both effects. So this card overall just carried me through the tournament because it just soul charged so fast. And its requirement to get off was so easy. All you have to do is place a card in the same column like this, and if one card entered the column at the same time, if one card entered the column that these cards were on at the same time, then you get to soul charge an additional 2 cards, and that's just really good and really fast overall. And then 3 Heat Elemental Bobo. Now this is kind of just the overall good meta staple right now, because premium is kind of damage denial the game. So being able to extend the amount of times you can loop is just extremely strong. It basically stops your opponent from being able to hold you back by not giving you too much counterblast. And it adds to your soul charge, and it unflips damage. It's just really good in this deck. And then for grade 3s, we have 4 No Life Death King, obviously. It's on play, soul charge 1, gain 2k for every card in your soul, and it's the main part of your loop, which I'll explain right after I explain all the card choices. And then 2 Ghoulish the Spoiler. Now this card varies in deck profiles, to be honest. I really like it because it's Counterblast 1 and Soul Charge 2, and you grab any card from your soul. Now this increases the amount of consistency of your deck because you'll be able to grab virtually any combo piece except for NOK from your soul. You could grab Bobos if you need them for the matchup. You could grab Tragic Claw if you want to extend. If you want cards from your damage zone, you grab Ruthaven or Snake Charmer. And it's really easy to get a lot of soul for a lot of options early, thanks to cards like Dimension Creeper or Tragic Claw. So your options are really wide in the early game. And overall, it's just a second protect, so it helps out for defensing too. So that's pretty great. Also, riding it before you ride another grade 3 against Mega Colony, it's pretty great. And then got your 1 Sullivan. This is just so you don't deck out. It does have a setup play where you can ride and then clone assassins, but most of the time I just pitch it for Striders, or I draw it later on because it's a 1-of. You essentially only play this so you have access to Tybalt, so you can refresh your deck. And yeah. Now on to Strides. We will start with the first Strides. Got the Ludgerus and Balan. So most of the time, if like 99% of the time, you're just gonna go into this ball for the fort check, just to dig for more cards and the additional soul charge too. However, Ludgerus does have its advantages. If you soul charge too many No Life Death Kings, then it's pretty unlikely you're gonna draw one back. And this card is Counterblast 1, Persona Flip, soul charge 3, so an additional card rather than Balam. Then if you've hit a Darkness, you get to salvage a grade 3 from your soul. It is kind of random, but sometimes it's worth the risk. You can like count the amount of darknesses you have in ratio to non-darknesses in your soul, in your deck, and see if you have good odds. But yeah, it's just a tech salvage kind of stride. Yeah. So most of the time you're just gonna go to bar. Following that, we have 4 Braided Mouse. He's Darkness, Counterblast 1 on attack. If you have 10 or more cards in soul, put 2 cards from your hand into the soul, and return all zeros from field or soul into the deck. It just helps you to not deck out after NOK loops or potentially before NOK loops. And it's a restanding Vanguard, which is kind of important in some matchups, which I'll go over at the end, near the end of the video. But overall, being able to recycle soul is a lot stronger than Balam, because I don't run enough aggressive cards to make Balam's guard restrict threatening. So at least Braid Amounts is two swings, and helps you not deck out. And then, like I said, you need some Tybalts just in case you get stuck on the Sullivan. But alternatively, it's pretty good for trying to mass Soul Charge. And you have a lot of good targets for Soul Charging. You have like Werewolf Jaeger, Assassins, this Dimension Creeper. So it's just pretty nice. And then you can recycle NOKs from Soul to drop to deck. And that can be relevant. But overall, it's just for not decking out after NOK loops. And then we'll go G-Guards before I reveal the last 2 strides. We got 2 Aggro-Bat Mallet for Soul Charge 2. It essentially turns your Heal Trigger G-Guardians into an extension of your soul, which is crazy good, which is why you play 2 of it, just in case you need to hit it for 13 soul or you're digging for combo pieces. And then we play this G-Guard. It gets 10k if you have 8 or more soul. And then Vincent, he's the flip G-Guard, and you get 5k for every 5 soul you have. So you can hit like plus 15 or so. It does Soul Charge 1 on G-Guard too, so that's not bad. And then Adeline, just to dig for Stride Enablers or grade 3s, any of your combo pieces that you're still missing that you don't want in soul. And then the final 2 strides are Dust and Demagogue. These are both for one specific matchup, which I will transition into right here. So overall, the field in premium right now, or right before ultra rare meta, would averagely be NOK decks and counter NOK decks, because the deck is just crazy strong. And I expected so much counterplay that I played these 2 strides. Oh, sorry, first thing I have to explain NOK's combo, just for anybody who is not familiar with it. So, No Life Death King is, at the end of the battle, he soul charges 3 rear guards, and he superior rides a card from the soul. Now, he can superior ride himself, and his skill isn't once per turn. Even if it wasn't, you would be on a new grade 3. Not the point. However, you only have 5 rear guards. So, soul charging 3, you would only have 2 left. However, because we have Enigmatic Assassin, who calls himself from the soul, you are able to gain additional rear guards. In fact, you are able to gain enough rear guards after each NOK attack that you are able to do it again, as long as you're able to pay the counterblast cost. So, provided you have like 13 in soul, and you have 3 assassins. These can also be in your hand or on the field. It doesn't have to be in your soul. You are able to call out all 3 assassins, because you can call them at the beginning of the attack step, which just means you have a standing unit. You can call out all 3 assassins like this or like this, doesn't matter. You can swing for 20, 20, and then boost, or boost him, all the same. Attack, re-soul charge them, and superior ride a grade 3 from your soul. So you can superior ride a second NOK, which you can soul charge off his cost, or you can have in the soul already, doesn't matter. Superior ride it, and then recall these 3. That's the NOK loop. And then you would gain an additional protect every time you do it. Not to mention the fee attacking your opponent several times. So like I said, I averagely expected a good amount of Ange, NOK, and counter NOK decks. So I played these 2 strides as a precaution. So for this stride, every time a card enters your soul, your front row gets 1,000 power. This stacks, which means any additional cards that enter your front row would also get the power. So if you called more assassins, they would also get the power. Now, why would you do that over No Life Death King? Well, it's not very easy to do this combo against decks like Kagero, which can retire your entire back. So, honestly, most of the time, it's just not even worth trying to do it unless your opponent's still on grade 2. So, I go into Demagogue instead. I soul charge almost my entire deck with skills like Tragic Claw or Dimension Creeper or some combination of the cards in my hand. I soul charge as much as I can, try to get all the assassins in, and then from there I just do a very old school play where I call some front row. They get the buff from this Demagogue, I'll swing with them, and then I'll keep popping out these assassins. It's a much more likely play to kill your opponent if they're playing Kagero than straight up risking NOK and hoping they don't have a G-Guard for defeat flares. So, honestly, I find it a very important stride in those matchups, or in that one matchup. And then on to Dust. Dust is a little bit more convoluted of a reason. So, there is only one deck that I would realistically use this in. It would be against Link Joker. Now, Link Joker also has a pretty good counter to NOK in Freeze Ray Dragon, which locks a card every time they take a damage. And you realistically have no way around that effect because you don't output too much damage. They'll be able to lock your rear guards, and even if they aren't able to lock your rear guards, all your rear guards that turn, they'll stop your play and then lock them next turn. So, instead of that, what I'd like to go for against decks like Freeze Ray is I'd ride a grade 3, try to dig for a second copy of that grade 3, which is why cards like Ludris are pretty good. Try to dig for a second copy of that grade 3. And then, instead of doing the NOK combo, I ultimate stride into Dust. Now, Dust has 3 skills. He deals your opponent 1 damage if they have 4 or less. He lowers your opponent to grade 1 power 1, but most importantly, he nullifies all the opponent's abilities of their units on the field at that time. So he would nullify Freeze Ray's ability and lower him to grade 1 power 1, which means he can't G-Guard. So after that, it would be just like the Demagogue. You would try to call out as many assassins as you could and try to finish them. It's pretty likely to do it because Link Joker currently doesn't have V-triggers, so it's really hard for them to go back up from that 1. And you're swinging at them with multiple 20s. You can pretty much do that as soon as like first stride. But yeah, so those were the 2 more difficult matchups that I saw come in. I didn't play any of them, unfortunately, even though I was ready. But that's okay. But that's why you'll see some of these more strange strides in the deck. Now, yeah, that was the meta-analysis and the deck profile. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.